Welcome back to the 1983 podcast. I am your host, PH, and we're going to talk about politics today. If you've listened to any of my previous episodes, you would probably know that I like talking about politics. Who doesn't? There's an entertainment value to picking a team and fighting to beat the other side. It's why a good portion of people like sports. I love the Packers. I like watching them play. My brother's team is the Vikings. It's kind of a fun rivalry. But the difference between picking a sports team and picking a political party is that arguments can turn into a life or death situation. I know we hear about the left and the right bickering over which policy is the best direction to take the country, whether we should be able to continue using our Constitution as it was written, and whether or not Russia and China are the bigger enemy. The problem America has is that it has lost focus. The enemy isn't thousands of miles away. It's sleeping in the same piece of land you call home. The swamp in Washington is going to kill America. And all Americans are thinking about is whether Katy Perry will come up with an even crazier outfit on the next episode of American Idol. What we fail to see is the political parties we vote for are using us for only one thing: power. Think about it real hard. What would you do to be king or queen of the world? How much would you be willing to sacrifice to be the person in charge? You get to make all the rules. Everyone has to follow you and do what you say. I know as kids, if you had younger siblings, that was something that you kind of strived for. You got to boss them around because you were the oldest. Really ask yourself that question, though, because I think the people in charge have already asked it. And they're coming for your freedom one little bit at a time. I remember from my time in the military, there was a lot of talk about whether President Obama would use the Army or the National Guard troops to disarm Americans. My dad asked me if I were given that order, would I follow through with it? My answer was very simple. I don't have to follow any unlawful orders. And I'd rather take a bullet or prison time before attacking the Constitution like that. I told him there are a lot of really good guys in the Army, and I doubt he'd come close to getting away with that. Now, if you look at the news, people talking about some of the stuff that the Navy or the Army's doing recently, you hear about the new woke military. And I question whether a lot of these guys and girls have the same values I had almost a decade ago. If you feel disturbed by the fact that we had this conversation, meaning me and my dad, you probably should. It's sad that in this day and age we have to ask each other those questions. The leaders are grooming the armed forces to think a certain way in the name of protecting the opinions of only a few people. That's definitely not why I think the leaders are doing this, though. I worked in a psychological operations battalion. I saw some of the propaganda we were spreading around the world. Who's to say they wouldn't use that on all of us? If you were in charge and you had people that didn't align with your values and you had the opportunity to lie to them to try and move them over to your side, would you take advantage of that opportunity? They're also softening the police. Who's going to protect your local area if the police are aligned with the people who created the woke cancel culture? Literally the people that are silencing other people regardless of the First Amendment. They are weakening or destroying the shepherds among us so they can round up the sheep and make them do their bidding. I'm not just saying this to stir up people or ruin your day. Believe me, if I didn't feel like people needed to hear it, I wouldn't be saying this. I don't make any money from this podcast. It's all done on my free time. And I sure as shit don't believe in making a profit off of sensationalism. It's wrong. It's what companies like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google have been doing for a long time. And don't even get me started on the propaganda machine called the media. Those people are as crooked as they come, making money off of death, disaster, and then canceling everyone else that wants to have a voice. My last point is a big one, and this is something that a lot of people may not agree with, but this is the only way I see us getting back to an America where everyone is together. America needs to go back to their roots, drop the politics, hit their knees, and pray for their neighbors in the White House and in DC, and especially the people that live in your local area. I would like to believe that the words of Jesus apply in this situation, that the people in charge know not what they do. The sad thing is, I doubt that's the case. I think they know exactly what they're doing, and they know that it makes money, and it makes sure that they stay in power, and I don't think that we can give them the benefit of the doubt anymore. I think they've been pretty blatant in the last few years in the fact that they would take power over freedom. Get back to building up your communities. Remember to love each other. And most of all, remember that hate is what they want you to have. For evil to triumph, good men just need to do nothing. Thanks for listening in, America. I pray that I'm wrong.